Okay, so this is our little pile of Osage staves. This is a pile of Osage staves. We've got like 12, 13 more in various locations. But this is the latest stuff I cut, so this stuff's out here to season. But it's pretty. So this will be a horse bow. Little short thing. Okay, so today this stave already had a split, and judging by the look of it, this is one of those splits that probably occurred while the tree was living. See how it's all dark? But if it did occur after I cut it, it was immediate. That sucks, it is what it is. However, you'll see here we have a lot of good, thick growth rings. We have a particularly good one here, and 3 rings down here. Now, you pick one of these thick rings, you take your draw knife, and you run one single ring all the way down the stave. First, I start by squaring the bottom of it. That way I can lay it up against something and it doesn't turn when I'm trying to chase rings. So you come in like this. That beautiful yellow wood shows up. Just square it up. And so you can see that huge split. Okay, that's an old split. This is the problem with Osage. It's such a hardwood. It doesn't like to give and such. And you can see from the darkening, these cracks were here when this tree was alive. All right, so I cut it. You can't tell when these are here, especially at this depth. This stave will probably have to be 2 staves, and I'll have to just use a decent bit of skill to get a bow out of each side. But yeah, get this thing flat. Okay, this is a pin knot. Now, if you just plow through it, you'll go through 3 or 4 growth rings right here. And maybe you'll go through the one that you want. So I'm very careful. I start digging deep right before the pin. Back up a tick. I start digging deep. I get a big bunch of wood going. I pry it in right before the pin knot, and then I pop it. Come in a bit more, pop it. What that does is it forces the wood away from that knot. I need to do a little more. You just peel it. And look at that. There's that pin knot right there. But it's clean. I didn't cut through the rings because I'm within 2 to 3 growth rings of the ring I want, right? So that's how you keep from going through your rings while still using a sharp draw knife. There's people that'll come in there with a super dull one. I'm not that patient, so I just learned how to get around it. Okay, so we see this big, ugly, long-term, probably 10, 20, 30-year-old crack on this tree. I'm gonna take this chunk of hickory because I got tired of breaking all my hatchets doing this. Take a chunk of hickory, I cut into a wedge. Start that thing just like that. You're gonna slowly tap it, all right? And the reason I'm doing this is because this is an old crack and it runs down into the tree. I don't want it to do a whole bunch of stuff that I don't like, so I want to go real slow. If it starts doing something I don't want it to do, I'll take the chainsaw and I'll rip cut, more or less taking the options of the tree, of the wood grains away, forcing this crack where I kind of want it to be. It's already doing stuff I don't like. Now, come here. All right, it starts on this grain, walks over an 1/8 inch into these grains, which are ripping, and then walks over again, another 1/8 inch into these grains, which are ripping, and it'll probably try to walk again right here. I hate the fact that Osage does that. It splits easy, but it splits dirty a lot of the times if you have a real squiggly stave. So, to save wood here, I'll start scoring where it rips across the grains. see it's trying to open up, it's going to go through these pin knots. Pin knots suck because that's where your stuff starts to go off of the grain you're looking for. It might take too much away from one side or the other. That's a tough piece of wood. Now see, once you get Osage splitting the way you want it to, it splits beautifully. What happened now? Oh, it's bouncing. All right, with your hickory, start it. Okay. Okay, got a bunch. See all these grains pulling? That'll ruin this piece. So we gotta cut those now before they keep ripping. Okay, that one's almost cut. Now it is cut. Here's a, no, that's not bad. See, these are nasty. This needs to be. This sucks. Yeah, you can't force Osage to do everything you want it to do. That's a fact. But here's the thing, Osage is extremely dense. I may still get a good bow out of this, but probably not. This will be where I have to end this piece right here. Pretty clean. Pretty clean. Not wanting to go yet. Maybe we'll get enough on both sides, but it's looking like this one will be a horse bow. This will be a long bow of my choosing. Let's find out. Okay, so this is a great piece actually, until right here. This one spot probably just made this whole length useless in terms of using it on a single piece of wood bow. I'll probably have to end the bow tip somewhere in here if it were a long bow, and that's not long enough, so it's going to have to be a horse bow, something like this long. This other piece, however, is beautiful. I'll get a full width Osage bow of any poundage I want. And once again, beautiful rings. It's going to have some character, some wiggles and stuff, but that's okay. Nice. Choose a ring. It looks like I'm going to go for the first or second ring of heartwood here. That's going to be the ring I use the draw knife to shave down to. Alright. Pay special attention to these pin knots here. They're from hell. They can cause a lot of issues if you cut through them. That's a bigger one there, and it's actually easier to mess with. These grouped ones, though, they suck. Get this sapwood off. So there's pin knots right here, 1, 2, and I think there's a third here. What you do with the draw knife, unless you start working this with a little pocket knife or a paring knife, and so a lot of people do. I don't, unless they're really nasty. I use the very edge of a draw knife, and I work really finely up to it, lift the grain around it, and usually I get away with that pretty scot-free. You'll see here, you got the last ring of sapwood. White, creamy, rots pretty easy when it's seasoning. And then you look here. You got this really crispy looking wood. That crispy stuff, that's your early year growth, your spring growth, and it grows really fast. It's really, really low quality in terms of using it for a bow. But just on the other side, this is what makes Osage so nice to chase a ring on. You can feel the crunchiness of the spring wood, which you don't want, but you can use that as a guide. Right about the time that crunchiness stops when you're going down slowly, you'll feel that crunchiness start to stop. That's the sign that you're getting into the summer growth heartwood ring that you're looking for. Okay, so now we can clearly see I left the old ring right here around this pin knots until I'm done with the whole stave. Then I'll come in and clean that up. But we have a creamy yellow wood right here. This is the ring I want. I'll do this all the way down the stave. Just to clarify, we chose, so you see these white rings, and then this white and yellow ring. We chose the first fully yellow ring. It's good and thick. If I mess it up real bad somewhere, I have another ring right here I can go down to, and if I mess that up, I have another ring right here, and then here, and then here. I'm going to try to stay as high up as I can. That keeps me with the biggest number of options in terms of design. If you like what we've been talking about, please consider liking and subscribing.